Hi, I'm Les Wilksinson with the law firm of Wilksinson Magruder, your Social Security disability attorneys. I'm here with my law partner, Andy Magruder, to talk about issues that are important for determination of whether or not someone is disabled under the Social Security rules. And Andy, we've talked about listings and rulings and different conditions people have. But one I see all the time, people coming in to my office and talking about them, and they say, I've got fibromyalgia. A long time ago, I represented this nurse, and she was married to a doctor, and the doctor said there's no such thing as fibromyalgia. So tell us, what is fibromyalgia?
That's a great question, Les. Well, Social Security has issued a ruling that addresses how they're supposed to evaluate claims of fibromyalgia. And what it says is they can recognize fibromyalgia as a severe impairment, which could lead to someone being disabled if three conditions are met. Okay, number one of the claimant's treating physicians has to diagnose them with fibromyalgia. Number two, there have to be certain objective signs and findings, objective findings in the medical records as set forth by the American College of Rheumatology. Again, rheumatology is the branch of medicine that typically treats fibromyalgia. And number three, the diagnosis has got to not be inconsistent with the rest of the medical records. As many people know, fibromyalgia is diagnosed by exclusion. People, when they typically see doctors and they have complaints of widespread pain and fatigue, doctors have to exclude other diagnoses, potential diagnoses such as lupus and other things before they can diagnose this person with fibromyalgia. So Social Security makes sure that in order for fibromyalgia to be considered a severe impairment, which could lead to someone being deemed disabled, again, that these certain requirements are met. A doctor just can't say, well, they have fibromyalgia and Social Security accepts that. There have to be, again, objective findings in the record. And again, Social Security puts what has to be in these objective findings in the ruling for Social Security to recognize fibromyalgia as a disease that could lead to someone being disabled. Now, the ruling, as you may know, recognizes that fibromyalgia is a disease where symptoms can kind of come and go or wax and wane. So a lot of times people with fibromyalgia, they'll have good days where they can be fairly active and get a fair number of things done, and then they'll have a lot of bad days where they're in bed and in a lot of pain. So Social Security recognizes that people with fibromyalgia may have good days and bad days, and that's part of the disease.
And you can't have really a test for it other than, like you say, being diagnosed with the proper trigger points and the pressure points. And generally, a rheumatologist makes that determination, does it?
That's correct. In terms of what Social Security requires, based upon the American College of Rheumatology, there have to be 11 tender points found in all 4 quadrants of the body, and some other objective findings in order for them to deem fibromyalgia a severe impairment that could result in someone being found disabled. So essentially what they've done is said doctors just can't slap on this diagnosis of fibromyalgia without any objective findings, but once it is deemed a severe impairment, they do recognize that, again, the disease waxes and wanes, and people have good and bad days, which can lead to someone missing a fair number of days of work because of their widespread pain and fatigue.
Well, I appreciate that, Andy. I know that a lot of people come to see us and they've got a diagnosis, but they don't have what they need to show that it's a severe impairment. They may have fibromyalgia, they just can't prove it. Thank you.
Thank you.